So just a brutal start to the West Coast trip for the Knicks last night. Big news is obviously Jalen Brunson down and out for minimum 2 weeks. X-rays negative on the ankle, but it's still swollen enough where they don't even know how high of a grade the sprain is. And they're saying minimum 2 weeks. It's going to be more than that. And now where did the Knicks go from here is the question. And listen, it was going to be a bad night either way because they had blown a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, which we've seen them do before. This team is not tough, and they are even less tough and less capable of doing almost anything without Jalen Brunson. He scores the bulk of their points, and the ones that he doesn't score, he basically facilitates on. And now they're going to rely on Mikal Bridges, who last night scored 6 points on 3 shots, and Karl Anthony Towns, who has played better but can't play defense. And the Knicks can't score. There's nobody who's going to score points now on this team. Brunson was 26 points, 7 assists. He was shooting 40% from the field. He was shooting 50% from the field, 40% from 3. And that's gone now. And it's possibly gone for the remainder of the regular season. And the Knicks, who have a 3.5 game lead on Milwaukee in the 3 spot, so they sit there, they have a little bit of a cushion, but who's this team going to beat? They can't beat it. They're 1-8 over the last 2 years without Brunson. They haven't been playing great as it is with Brunson for the last couple weeks. Last night was a brutal loss. That was going to be one of the worst losses of the season either way. Now it's the worst game, the worst night that the Knicks have had since Game 7 when they all got hurt and they lost to Indiana last year. I mean, what do they do now? Where do they go? You really think Mikal Bridges is going to step up? Because everybody's all over him, and last night was a terrible game for him, but he has basically been putting up the same numbers he's put up his whole career. If you look at his averages, it's about the same as he's put up in his career. He's not aggressive. He seems a little gun shy to shoot the basketball. Well, now he's going to really have to step up and play better. And Karl Anthony Towns is going to have to play better, and Josh Hart's going to have to play better. And I don't know, even if they all do, if that's going to be good enough. And then, they'll make the playoffs. Knicks are going to be a playoff team. But if they don't have Brunson until the playoffs, it's going to be another huge disappointment and a huge ending of a disappointment season because they're not going anywhere in the playoffs. They got 20 games left to play. This was the first game of a West Coast trip that has 4 games and tough games. They got the Clippers coming up, then they got Sacramento, then they go to Portland and Golden State. No easy games there. And with the way that the Knicks have, I don't know where the scoring is going to come from. You're going to have Miles McBride is going to be, in there at the point. He's a serviceable point guard. But Brunson is an all-NBA point guard. He's one of the best players in the league. And now he's out and he's down, and it's just a nightmare situation for the Knicks. Just a nightmare night in LA, blowing a 10-point lead, losing in overtime, and then at the end losing Brunson for God knows how long. Now, the good news is there was no break. The ankle didn't break. The x-rays were negative. Okay, no surgery. But you sprain your ankle, and he rolled it pretty good. If you see it, he rolled it pretty good. It was it doesn't look good. It's one of those where you cringe a little bit when you see it. And now it's going to fall on Bridges and Towns and Hart and OG. Now, out of those, OG and Cat are the 2 that I trust the most. Bridges is, like I said, look at last night. A big game. It's a big game for the Knicks. He takes 3 shots. He scores 6 points. Down the stretch, he had nothing. Hart has not been playing well. Hart has not been rebounding the way he has in the past. He hit a big 3 last night he hit a corner 3 to stop the bleeding in the fourth quarter when the Knicks were just falling apart, blowing that lead. But you can't replace Jalen Brunson. And he's the real, even with all the moves they made in the offseason, getting Karl Anthony Towns, Bridges, just everybody. This is not even a question. It's Brunson's team. He is the heart and soul of this team. He's the best player on the team. He scores the most points. He facilitates the most. And now he's out, and they're going to have to figure it out. And they're a team that doesn't play great defense. They give up a ton of points. The only thing that they had going for them was they'll outscore you. They got good offense. And I think one of the key players here is going to be OG. And he's going to have, because I don't see Bridges really stepping up and giving you, taking that average of 17 points a game and bumping it up to 23 or 25. That's not going to happen. So you're going to need OG, and you're going to need Cat to start playing some defense. And is he just going to now all of a sudden out of nowhere start playing defense? So it's just a nightmare situation if you're a Knicks fan. And, now you're looking at, what do you got to just stay afloat. You don't want the whole thing to fall apart. The Knicks could theoretically be in the 4 seed or tied with Milwaukee when they play their next home game. And we have no idea. They basically said with Brunson, we're going to look at it after 2 weeks. So it's going to be more than 2 weeks. It's probably I would say probably more than likely most of the rest of the regular season. And that's just a disaster because you can't replace Brunson at all. He is the main point of this team. And now you're going to have Miles McBride in there. It was, like I said, he's serviceable. Hart, Bridge, and Bridges. Now everybody's focusing on Mikal Bridges. I think they're putting too much pressure on this guy. I think this guy is basically, he is what he is. You've seen what he is. This is what you get. He's putting up the same numbers he did in Brooklyn. So I don't know why they thought he was going to be, he more gun shy. He doesn't seem to be very happy in his role, but is he going to step up now? Because now he's got it. If he wanted a bigger role, now he's got it. The Knicks basically traded 5 first-round picks for a role player. Now he's going to have to step up and he's going to be in the spotlight. And we'll see if he can do it. And I'm not counting on it. I think OG is going to have to play great. I think Cat's going to have to play great. He's going to have to figure out how to play some defense. You can't keep going like this and just not playing defense. It's not going to work. Because now the Knicks aren't going to be the offensive juggernaut that they were, where they'll just outscore you. You're losing almost 30 points a game, and it's probably closer to 40 points when you figure out all the assists and everything that he has. He shoots almost 40% from beyond the 3-point line. The Knicks are in trouble. They're 40-22. There's 20 games left to play. They are just starting a West Coast trip. And if they're not careful, this thing could spiral out of control. And they could find themselves in the 4th seed, maybe even the 5th seed. Because I don't think right now, without Jalen Brunson, the Knicks are not a top basketball team. They were already a good team. They were a good team, not championship team, right? They can't beat the Celtics. They can't beat the Cavs. They can't beat any of the good teams. The Lakers are probably the Western Conference equivalent of the Knicks, and they blew a 10-point lead to them last night. And now you're going to sit here and say you're going to be without Brunson maybe for the rest of the regular season. It's a disaster for the Knicks, and it's a shame. 40-22, having their best regular season that they've had in 30 years, and it's just all goes down the drain once again, just like last year. Last year went all the way down the drain with a Brunson injury. It just happened in the last game. This one happens with 20 games to play in the season, and it's the Knicks. Now they built themselves a little capital. Like I said, they got a 3.5 game lead. If they could somehow scrape out, maybe 2 wins, go 2-2 on the rest of this trip, get back home, and just hope to play a little bit better. But then you got the Heat coming in, and they got a big game against the Bucks late in this month. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, and I don't see how they're going to do it. Where's the points going to come from? Karl Anthony Towns he's going to play his game. He's going to put up his points. Hart has just really been struggling. The Knicks are soft on the boards all of a sudden. Hart, who was a monster on the boards, and he could really energize this team, the last month has not done anything like that. He has not played well. He has not been energizing the team. He's not the heart and soul out there where he could get things going, get the catalyst to get things going. And with Brunson, who's basically your whole team out, good luck. They don't play defense. They lost 30% of their offense. And now they got, the Clippers, the Kings, Portland, and Golden State left on a West Coast trip with 20 games to go and 3.5 game lead on the Bucks. And you saw the whole thing just possibly fall apart last night. It's a shame. It really is. And now we'll see. We'll see how good of a coach Thibodeau is. He's a good coach. But he's got to get these guys to play defense. Defense is an effort. And the Knicks going into this thing, Brunson didn't play defense. They're not losing much defense with Brunson going, but you're losing all the offense. And you can't replace the offense. So the only way to make up for that is play some defense, score more points, give up less points, get more rebounds. Hart's got to get back to the player he was last year. Miles McBride's got to hold the fort, and OG's got to be great. And as far as Towns and as far as Bridges goes, I mean, I don't think you're going to get much more. Like I said, if you look at his numbers, everyone's all down on him. They're basically the same numbers that he's had when he was in Brooklyn. I think they expected too much out of him out of this trade. They gave him 5 first-round picks. If they want to make this trade worth it, and if he wants to get the money that he's going to get after this year or after next year, he's going to have to just become superhuman and just play great. He has the potential. He scored 40 points again on Christmas Day against the Spurs. So you see flashes of it, but I don't know. I don't see it coming because it's not there every night. And look at last night. 6 points and 3 shots in a big game. The Knicks blow a 10-point lead. They lose in overtime. They lose Brunson possibly for the rest of the season. Just a complete, brutal Thursday night for the Knicks. And now you're going to see if they're going to have to dig deep. You're going to see how good this team can be without Brunson. And if they can play defense, and if Thibodeau can get them going, and they can hold the fort and stay afloat until their captain comes back. That does it for us. Knicks, Clippers, Friday night in LA. Knicks lose last night to the Lakers in overtime. They lose Brunson. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. See ya.